Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the 10th edition of the European Film Festival. As you can imagine, there are a lot of beautiful gems as part of the festival this year, one of which is an animation. Now, I've been a part of the festival and participating in it for a bit of a while, and this has never, ever, I've never seen animation as part of the festival. And today we've got Irina Kostik, who's the producer of Mavka, the forest song. Irina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. Great to see you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your film with us as well. I mean, when you started this journey, did you at all imagine it would be as big as it is now?
Yeah, well, like I said, to know that your film is watched all over the different continents, and that you, Yolanda, just watched the film all the way in South Africa is just great to know. Because, well, we did plan for it to travel, but I guess for such a huge journey of the film, it was a bit unexpected because all the attention right now is to Ukraine, but it's not only because of the current situation. I'm sure because the film itself is great, and kids
Yeah,
actually are the
yeah,
target audience. They don't care what the film from. They watch the film. They love the
yeah,
film. They love
yeah,
everything. So yeah, so
yeah.
it's great to know that it's traveled so well.
I think there's something so timely about the film. Firstly, yes, I know that you started the film in 2017. I think we started working on the film 2017, and then of
Yeah.
course the war happened, interruptions, and then you released the film earlier this year. I mean, can you talk through us through all of that? It almost I ask that question because it feels so timely, the way the film has arrived, and also how it's such a beautiful celebration through just this magical platform, a medium of animation with the songs. I mean, with the artwork and even the symbols. The symbols on the pendant and all of that. Like, there's so much in it, and so much in it that you look at it and you're like, okay, I can see how this can make one feel so patriotic and so proud of where you come from and so proud of your history and wanting to learn more about your history. How was that journey for you personally as the team?
Yeah, you're quite right. That was a long journey due to different factors. Well, the idea about creating this film, it was even before the 2017. So I would say the idea about putting this character from Ukrainian mythology into such form as animation, which is universal language, that talks to
Yeah.
people all over the world. Animation is something that can talk through to all of the people, all around the world, because it gets dubbed, kids understand it. It's a family animation. So that idea came to us, I think, in about 2015, even, or 16.
Oh, wow.
Because yeah, it's Ukrainian mythology is rich and interesting and visually just beautiful, that the world has never seen something from this part of the world,
Mm.
especially in the form of animation. And we have this beautiful character, female character in our mythology, Mavka, which is quite known locally, of course. And when we started an animation division, Animagrad company that was producing feature films, animated feature films. We were, looking for ideas to produce, to put into our next feature film, because our first feature film was Stolen Princess. So that was the idea, to take the great complex female character from our mythology, put it into the universal language of animation, and bring it out to the world. In 2017, we produced the first teaser. And it was just so beautiful, and all the visuals that we created, the poster that we had, the teaser that we had, it just struck audience so hard. It was so timely at that time as well, because the kids at the target, or the Ukrainian kids especially, there was a lack of Ukrainian national animation characters and hero, because it was mostly imported from Russia, because Russia's animation industry was very big, and Ukraine didn't have its own big animated films or characters. So that was very timely at that time. And even though it was still a long time to go before the film gets released, the knowledge about the brand, the knowledge about me making this film, was just spread out throughout all the country. It was like highly anticipated
Wow.
through all these years. It was really unprecedented because just having that image and teaser, our licensing and merchandising department was already doing licensing deals. Like
Wow. Wow.
yeah, breakfast cereals and yogurts branded with Mavka, even years before Mavka came out. So it was a really strong brand, really powerful, a really spread out knowledge. And then it took us quite a while. Well, usually animation takes from the development stage to the final production stage about 6 to 7 years. So that's pretty much how much it took us. But then there
Yeah.
was pandemic. So pandemic struck us in the middle of production. That delayed a little bit. And then when we were on the final stage of production already, when we already set the date of the release, which was set for December 29th of 2022, then the full-scale invasion started,
Yeah.
and we had to finish our movie. Literally, our animators and artists, where we have this video even on our website, our animators, producers, ourselves, artists had to work out of the bomb shelters to finish the animation. So that was a big challenge to work during full-scale invasion. Some of our
Wow.
animators were under occupied territories. Some were, really literally working from out the bomb shelters. But we did finish the movie. That was, just we had to do it. It was
Yeah.
there was no choice for us not to finish the movie because it was so already highly anticipated, and we already pre-sold the rights to many territories. But then the next challenge was whether to release it during the times of the war, because
Yeah.
the situation is that half of Ukrainian theaters are not operating due to being either destroyed or under occupied territories or just out of business. So in those
Yeah.
circumstances, when there's not many theaters open, half of them actually, half of the pre-war capacity is open right now, and 10 million of the target audience is out of the country. They're refugees,
Yeah.
spread all over the world. So that was a big decision to make, whether to release it.
Yeah.
We did make this decision to release it in March this year. And like you said, it was such a timely thing. It was just because it just acquired so many new messages, in
Yeah.
addition to those that we actually planted. The film was supposed to be about, love and your responsibilities, when the choice between your passion and your responsibility as a guardian of the
Yeah.
forest, as
Yeah.
environmental. But then, during these times, it like acquired totally new messages. People saw something
Yeah.
else. People saw hope. People saw messages about defending your own territory. That when you can be
Yeah.
a nice and tender soul of the forest, but when the enemy comes, you have to take that spark of rage and defend your territory. So
Yeah.
that's all the new messages that people found in that movie.
Yeah. And again, it's like timing, literally. And it's just like, because
Exactly.
it's so everything that's going on in the Ukraine right now. I'm still quite impressed that with even half the theaters closed, you still beat Avatar. With not
Yes,
even like, that's
exactly.
crazy.
It is
That's
crazy. I mean,
amazing.
everything around the film is crazy, amazing, because I guess it's like it's made with like you said, so much detail and so much passion, and there's
Yeah.
all these visuals that we have because our mythology and culture is so rich, and the world hasn't seen it before. So we put
Yeah.
so much passion and attention to each detail. Each rune you see there, it means something, and it's exactly so timely all over the world. We had this very great experience, which is unprecedented, where different countries were releasing both Ukrainian language version and their own local language version. So because there are so
Oh,
many Ukrainians,
wow.
yeah, that was really that was like a new case for all of our distributors around the world to have original version and to have their own dubbed version. And yeah, you're right. In Ukraine, it just hit all the records. We are
Yeah.
the biggest film. Ukrainian film of all times. We're the biggest animation release of all times, beating all Pixar and Disney movies, Frozen and Minions, everything. And it's
Yeah.
made now
Yeah.
it's released digitally and hit all the records, even
Yeah.
given the circumstances. So it is big.
And I think even the music play such a beautiful part in all of that, because
Yeah.
music also, relates to kind of our heritage. And there's something with, look, I mean, sometimes you're like, this sounds familiar. I've heard this before in a film, but there are sounds and that folklore type music that I've never heard before, especially from
Yeah.
Lucas's band. I was like, I've never heard that before. And it
Yeah.
is so like, it's so specific and it's so like unique, but you also had some of the techno beats that were also part of the soundscape. How did you decide to design that soundscape? How did you decide what goes where and how much of it to use? Because that's a very
That's
big part of the film, that soundscape.
Well, thank you so much that you like watched the film really attentively. You saw so much detail, and you're quite right. Music plays a huge role in the film, not only in the plot itself, because actually Lucas saves Mavka with his music. That's the music of his soul. That's why the film is called the Forest Song, Mavka, the Forest Song. So that music is a crucial part of the whole plot and the messages too. So the soundtrack was a really important part of the work for us. We've worked on that from this, I think, starting with the teaser in 2017, because the music in the teaser is what we call like a branded tune, like a jingle already for the film, because that's exactly the tune that Lucas plays, and we put it intertwined with the soundtracks that the Lucas's band plays. So that was really big challenge to mix the ethnic sounds. You have this Dacha Bracha band, which plays only ethnic music, but it's like contemporary ethnic music and some pop songs. So we have
Yeah.
two pop soundtracks, which are specially written by one of our stars, by the Artem Pivovarov, who's the pop star in Ukraine, and he also actually dubs Lucas in Ukrainian version, and Christina Solovey, so she's a Ukrainian singer as well. So they wrote two songs, which are in the movie. They are in the romantic part where there's a romantic clip. So that one soundtrack plays there and one in the final titles. So those are the two soundtracks that are being adapted in different countries. So each country, when they dubbed it to Polish, to German, to Spanish, they re-sing the song in their own language, those two soundtracks. But the rest stays authentic and original. So you hear those ethnic Ukrainian sounds at the fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's and it's like a little bit electronic. There was a big discussion between producers. We actually have three producers on one of them. So one was responsible for production. I was more into creative side and the plot, and then we have creative producer who was also responsible for creative part. But there was a big discussion whether to put that song that you hear at the market.
Yeah.
Two of the producers were against it, and I was the only one who wanted to implement it. But I think it just sounds nice, and it's a little bit of an Easter egg, because it's actually a soundtrack to one of our other product, which is it's like shorts about Ukrainian national costume, and that's a soundtrack for that for those little shorts that are
Oh,
uploaded.
wow.
So it's like people hear it, and it's they know that it's from another little series about Ukrainian costume, and then we see
Yeah.
it. Mhm.
Yeah. Talking about just the specifics again. One of my last questions is tell me a little bit, very briefly, about your collaboration with Katrina Kuka, the ballerina. So I noticed it's part of her repertoire, playing Mavka, in a ballet is part of her repertoire. Why was that important for you to include her in there, in the way that you did? Was it, had you always planned that, or did you kind of see the opportunity to, okay, you know what, because Mavka's story is it's like this national heritage. Everyone knows about the story. It's been around for decades. And so kind of paying homage also to the people who've been telling the story ahead of you before the animation. How
Yeah,
did you?
it's all about pulling together, all those details that
Yeah.
are relevant to Mavka as a character which is known in Ukraine, because you're right. The classic poem is a part of the school program, so all the kids read it.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so Mavka as a character, there was a movie like in the 60s, and there is a ballet, and Katerina, she's a prima ballerina of National Opera. She plays Mavka, so she's kind of like an ambassador of this character. So when we started to produce, in animation, in 3D animation, you have to have live action video references. So actually, before producing the 3D models and before animating them, you have to shoot the same scenes with the live with actors actually, and then the animators have to, you know, replicate those movements in the models. So we had to have an actress for video references for the movements of Mavka, and we, you know, right away we thought about Katerina because she's the one, you know, she has this grace, and that's what we wanted to have in Mavka, this grace and lightness, because she's the soul of the forest, you know, she has all this harmony into her. So that's why it's quite a unique case, because actually Mavka embodies three prominent Ukrainian women. So Katerina gave Mavka her grace and movements. Then we had another Ukrainian actress who gave her voice to Mavka, so who voiced actually Mavka. And then we have this famous singer who sang the songs for Mavka. So actually, Mavka is such a, you know, symbolic female character played by three different Ukrainian women, which is, you know, totally you know, made this character even richer for us and for people who saw it the local version.
Well, as I said to you in the beginning, I mean, I still have truckloads of questions for you, even with what you just said now about all of the women, all of these iconic women. You put them together to create Mavka. It's such a beautiful, it's like you got the whole, you know, the whole country backed you in doing this. And as I said, just even the story of how the film came together is so epic in itself. And you hear the story and you're like, I need to watch this film. I actually want to end our interview with a quote that you are attributed as saying, and it's this: our stories are our weapon, so we have to be loud. One of the instruments for us to be loud is to make a huge effort now, not only to finish the production, but also to distribute the rights to as many countries as possible so that we are heard all over the globe. And of course, this is right in the middle of, you know, things going down. I know you're going to finish the film and. So thank you so much for finishing the film.
Yes,
literally.
Well, thanks for watching it. And like you, it's good that you quoted that thing, because what we call Mavka right now, she's our cultural ambassador. She's a cultural diplomat, because with the language of animation, you know, we brought we exported Ukrainian culture out to the world, and, you know, and with
absolutely,
the help of, you know, with
so
much.
The music is there, the art is there, the storytelling is there, the fashion is there, literally all because of this medium of animation. Like you literally managed to just like put everything in this one beautiful pot.
And it's very important mission for us, you know, in these times. That's so much, you know, so that's so important to be at that front where you can, you know, fight your own front. So that cultural front is our own front. So I think, you know, we're happy that we succeeded in delivering this to the world, in finishing the movie, in exporting culture. You know, that's our weapon.
I'm going to end with this, and this will be my final thing I say. So I once heard a quote that said, "Storytellers delay the end of the world one story at a time." And I was like, wow, like indeed there was power in story. Thank you so much, Irina, for joining us. And thank you again for sharing your film with us. If you are viewing films, wherever you are, you're going to the theater or at your house, you have to make sure that this animation, Mavka, the Forest Song, is part of your watch list. Thank you so much for joining us as part of the festival, and enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Thank you, Yolanda. That was a pleasure.
Thank you. There's so many questions.
I know.
I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you. Of course, okay. I squeeze in the question about Katerina. I wanted to ask you about Lace's play, because I read a little bit of it, and I can see that you did your own adaptation. So choosing how, like how did you choose how to bring about the story? Because I could see it gave me a very Shakespeare Midsummer Night's Dream when I started reading it. But then I was like, but the story, your story is different. And then I also wanted to ask you, what did you say?
It's quite dramatic. Yeah, the original is quite dramatic. The poem is drama. We made
it's very, I got very Shakespeare, also some Romeo and Juliet vibe things. And then I actually wanted to talk to you about the theme of beauty and youth in the film. I definitely wanted to ask this, but it was too, I mean, I had like a whole long thing set up. Like it's not,
You know, 15
but
minutes is
yeah,
enough.
no, it's not at all because there's so many things, and I mean, even what you did with the larynx project, like that, and also because there's this the part in the film Wendy the little cub is caught in the trap. You know, I'm just like, did you
Yeah.
plan that? It was so much strategy. Did you plan that before, or did you come later? Like, you know, because everything sounds like it was so detailed. Like you went into this film with so much
Yeah.
detail, like planning ahead. That
And
is
it's without,
incredible.
yeah, it's without and even the environmental mission, you know, we cooperated with WWF Fund, you know, they consulted us
Yes, yes.
endangered animals and plants, and we implemented those animals and plants, and lynx is actually an endangered animal, so we kind of, you know, raised awareness to that part as well.
Oh, so you collaborated with them before?
Yes, while doing that, while making the movie and while developing the story, we've collaborated with them. They consulted us on, you know, different endangered species in Ukrainian forests. So actually, you
Yes.
see the bison, the black stork that Lucas flies on,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
lynx, the cub. It's all the endangered animals that we implemented to raise awareness to
Okay,
them.
so this was strategic. Like you did this from the beginning.
Yeah.
Again, more detail.
Yes, there's so much detail that you're right. And
Yeah,
it was
there is, and I feel like you could do an animation producer's masterclass. Actually, look, you never know. You know what I mean? With just how to even include and go about weaving these things, but also you never know what's going to happen. Of course, when you take the film to market, but there's so much stuff that you did that has worked out and that has, you know, unfolded really well. So
yeah,
well done
it
again.
was, thank you so much. Yeah, it was well planned strategy, and I'm glad we could carry it out. And that you guys,
Yeah, yeah.
thanks. Yeah,
Well,
great. Yeah,
yeah, no, thank you so much for your time this morning. So I'm going to stop the recording. I'm sure
yeah.
we are over 15 minutes, but it's fine. Um,
Thank you.